Thank you for participating in SPO training. This workshop is designed to assist state personnel understand the policies and procedures when making travel arrangements. Workshop number 155 is mandatory for all personnel making travel arrangements and for those who review travel documents. If employees make their own travel arrangements, they are required to take this workshop. Boards and commission members are not required to take this workshop, but are responsible to know the applicable policies and procedures. There are several governing authorities pertaining to travel. They include collective bargaining agreements, Hawai'i Administrative Rules, Chapter 3-10, Travel Rules, Ethics Commission Memorandum, Procurement Circulars, Price Vendor List, Comptroller's Memoranda, and Departmental Policies and Procedures. I will be covering the important aspects of each of these governing. Collective bargaining agreements supersedes all other authorities. For intrastate travel, per diem is $90 per 24-hour day. Calculations are based on quarter days, with travel beginning 60 minutes prior to departure and ends upon return to the home airport. Hotel allowance is $50. Anything in excess of $50 is excess lodging, which requires prior approval to obtain reimbursement. Most employees are entitled to $20 same-day allowance. There are a few bargaining units whose same-day allowance is $24. Please check with your personnel department if you are unsure which allowance applies to you. In September of 2000, HGEA and the state arrived at an agreement called Travel Time Off for Same-Day Travel. This was an agreement to compensate employees who have to travel before and after normal work hours. Travel time off for same-day travel will be discussed in depth in a later section. Collective bargaining agreements also dictate per diem for out-of-state travel, which is $145 per 24-hour day based on quarter days. Per diem starts 24 hours prior to the start of business based on Hawaii time. Hotel allowance for out-of-state travel is $85, and excess lodging requires prior approval. Travelers are reminded that advance per diem does not include excess lodging. If meals and lodging are provided at no cost to the employee, collective bargaining agreements allow the state to adjust per diem amounts. Often the terms conference, symposium, and seminars are used interchangeably. Comptroller Memorandum 2012-15 defines conference programs to be any programs that meet two specific criteria. One, must be sponsored by a governmental agency organization whose functions are directly related to the state's department or agency functions, and two, must be supported by published programs that include dates and agenda. The Hawai'i Administrative Rules, Chapter 3-10, Travel Rules, apply to all persons uniformly, regardless of funding. This includes employees, boards and commission members, and all persons representing the state on official business. Employees are considered on travel status when conducting official business and while traveling to and from official business sites. The routing of travel must be the most direct routes available to the point of business. Direct route does not mean nonstop. It means no side trips, extra stops, or circuitous routes. Any personal preferences, including specific airlines, routing, side trips, which impact the cost of an airline ticket, is the responsibility of the traveler. Hawai'i Administrative Rules also dictates travel and subsistence allowance. Per diem allowances are provided to cover meals, lodging, tips, laundry, and other expenses. Reimbursable expenses include such things as taxi, shuttle service, and parking. Subsistence allowance is provided when lodging is provided at no cost to the traveler. Meals are calculated at 8% for breakfast, 12% for lunch, and 20% for dinner. For example, out-of-state subsistence allowance would be $12 for breakfast, $17 for lunch, and $29 for dinner. Ethics Commission memos and Comptroller Memorandum both address travel benefits. Basically, Benefits earned while on state business belongs to the state and must be used for subsequent state business or transferred, if applicable, to another employee for state travel. Travel benefits earned on business may not be used for personal travel. There are only two SPO price lists. One is for car rental services and the other for intra-island air travel. Price List 12-14 is a mandatory price list for participating jurisdictions. It is a fixed price with guaranteed availability. This price list will be discussed in greater detail on later slides. The second vendor list is the Inter-Island Airline Price Agreement. The only vendor on this list is Hawaiian Airlines using the corporate program. Benefits of using the corporate program include waived baggage fees and change fees and same-day travel. Departments and agencies must sign up for the Hawaiian Airlines corporate program to take advantage of these benefits. In 1998, for about 9 years, the state had a contract with a travel agency to book air, hotel, and car rentals. The first contract was with Panda Travel. The state then decided to reprocure to give employees more choices with Panda Travel and Regal Travel. Then in 2007, with the surge of online booking engines, the state decided to terminate the contract and establish travel procedures and policies to provide guidance and consistency. Travel policies and procedures are governed by Procurement Circulars 200-03 and Amendments 1-3. The procedures include Worksheet A, B, C, D, and the Travel Approval Form and the Statement of Completed Travel. Worksheet A is completed for air travel. Interstate travel requires only one quote for the authorized travel, and the itinerary must be the most economical. The P card may be used only for authorized travel. If there is any deviation or personal preferences, the employee is responsible for any additional costs. Out-of-state travel requires a minimum of 2 authorized quotes from 2 different sources. The sources can be 2 online travel booking engines like Expedia, Travelocity, or Orbit, or 2 travel agencies, or any airlines direct, or any combination thereof. Calling a single travel agency or online booking agency, getting 2 quotes is still only one source. The authorized quote must be the most economical itinerary to the business destination. The P card may only be used for authorized airfare. The employee is responsible for any additional costs due to deviation or any personal preference. Baggage fees must be itemized on Worksheet A. Only one bag is authorized unless otherwise approved. Checked baggage must meet standard airline regulations, and the employee is responsible for the cost of extra bags or oversized luggage. If more than one bag is required, the justification must be noted on the worksheet. It may include such items as training material and exhibit boards. If not using the most economical fare, the justification must be annotated on Worksheet A. This slide reflects an example of out-of-state travel. This is a land management conference in Boston, Massachusetts. Conference starts on May 9th at 8 a.m. and ends on May 13th at 2 p.m. 2 authorized quotes were obtained, one from Expedia at $832 and the other from Cheap Tickets at $764. The itineraries are very similar, but one less expensive. There would be no justification to use the higher cost air carrier. Worksheet A has space for 3 itineraries as a courtesy to travelers. This is to allow for personal deviation. However, the tab should reflect the authorized itinerary only. If not using the most economical itinerary, there must be a justification on the worksheet. Worksheet B is used to calculate per diem for both intrastate and out-of-state travel. On the top portion of the form, fill out all the appropriate information. In this example, the flight departs the home airport at 6:30 a.m. on May 9th and returns at 5 p.m. on May 10th. In Section A, under Departure Day, the traveler is entitled to 1 full day. There are no other full days in between. On the return day, the traveler is entitled to 3/4 of a day for a total of 1.75 days. This is multiplied by the current rate of $90, which is totaling $157.50. If an employee is doing same-day travel, he and she may be entitled to same-day travel allowance of $20. In this case, only Section B is completed. For overnight travel, when lodging has been provided at no cost to the traveler would be entitled to meal allowances only, which is a percentage of per diem. Breakfast is 8, lunch is at 12%, and dinner at 20%. For example, one breakfast is $7, one lunch is $11, and one dinner is $18. Breakfast is allowed if traveling before 8 a.m. Lunch is allowed if traveling before 12 noon or returning after 12:30 p.m., and dinner is allowed if travel ends after 7 p.m. Similarly, if meals are provided, then those meals would be deducted at a rate of $7 for breakfast, $11 for lunches, and $18 for dinner. Employees are encouraged to travel within their normal work hours. However, sometimes that is not possible. Therefore, the HGEA came to an agreement with the state to compensate employees for traveling outside the normal work hours for same-day travel only. This does not apply to any overnight travel. And this applies only to employees who could qualify for overtime pay. The calculations start 30 minutes prior to flight time and ends when the flight returns to the home airport and is computed at 1.5 times rounded to the nearest 15 minutes. For example, an employee's regular hours are 7:45 to 4:30 p.m. The flight leaves at 6:05 a.m., arriving at 6:41. That same day, the flight returns leaves at 5:15 p.m., arriving at the home airport at 5:51 p.m. To calculate travel time off, you account for only the time before and after normal working hours. For example, on the outbound trip, calculations start at 5:35 a.m., which is 30 minutes prior to flight, to 7:45 a.m. for a total of 130 minutes. On the return, calculations are from 4:30 p.m. to 5:51 p.m. for 81 minutes. The two combined would be 211 minutes times 1.5 for a total of 316.5 converted minutes or 5.25 hours. Per diem for out-of-state travel is more complicated. Per diem starts 24 hours prior to the start of business based on Hawaii time or whenever the flight departs, whichever is more. In our sample conference, business started at 8 a.m. in Boston. Normally, that would mean per diem starts at 2 a.m. on May 8th, daylight savings time. However, the employee had to leave May 7th at 10:58 p.m., which entitles him to 1/4 day per diem on departure day. In between, there were 6 full days. On the return, the employee returned to the home airport at 7:16 p.m., which entitled him to 1 full day. The total per diem days would be 7.25 times $145, which equals $151.25. If lodging was provided at no cost to the employee, traveler is entitled to meal allowance, except for the travel days. Meals are based on percentage of per diem, breakfast at 8% or $12, lunch at 12% or $17, and dinner at 20% or $29. Conversely, if meals are provided, then the same percentages for each meal is deducted. Remember, if meals are provided at conference programs, the collective bargaining agreement dictates that meals are not deducted. Worksheet C is used to document hotel accommodations and rates. For intrastate and out-of-state travel, requires a minimum of 2 authorized quotes. If the traveler is staying at the conference hotel, no quotes are required. Simply check the appropriate box. Conference hotels are defined as a block of rooms reserved by the conference organizers, which have been prearranged and rates pre-negotiated. Just a list of hotels that offer government rates or in the vicinity of the conference would not qualify as a conference hotel. Excess lodging is the difference between hotel allowance, $50 for intrastate travel, and $85 for out-of-state travel. Excess lodging requires prior approval and must be noted on Worksheet C along with the travel approval form. When making hotel reservations, the P card shall not be used. Travelers must use their personal card to guarantee and pay for hotel accommodations. If not using the most economical hotel, the reason must be annotated on Worksheet C. Worksheet D is used for ground transportation expenses, both intra and out-of-state travel. If a car rental is necessary for intrastate travel, SPO price list 12-14 is required. HawaiiStateCars.com is a dedicated website for making travel arrangements. Worksheet D must be completed with applicable information, including pickup and return dates, along with pickup and return locations. There is no SPO requirement to choose the lowest cost vendor. Unless specified by the department or participating jurisdiction, the choice can be made from any of the three vendors: Enterprise, Alamo, or National Car Rental. Commercial car rental services include the driver need not be the card holder, but the coordinator is required to submit P-card information when the reservation is made. Employee must have a valid driver's license. Compact cars must be used unless justified and authorized for a larger car size. Gas is included, therefore the traveler is not required to refuel before returning the car. Compact cars are guaranteed availability Monday through Friday, excluding holidays on all islands, but reservations are required. The state is self-insured, therefore insurance is not required and will not be reimbursed. And finally, employee is personally responsible for deviations which may include upgrades, personal overtime, or extension. If a traveler wishes to extend his trip for personal reasons, the car that's used for authorized business must be returned and a new reservation made for the personal deviation. This does not include same-day travel, as the car is rented on a 24-hour basis. If any accident or incident should happen, the traveler is required to report their occurrence to risk management immediately. The car rental companies have been directed to submit any and all claims directly to risk management. If for some reason price list 12-14 cannot be used, an exemption to the price list is required. This approval process has been delegated to the department head and must be obtained prior to travel. Failure to obtain prior approval will require submission of the SPO Form 16 procurement violation. Check with the administrative offices for departmental policies and procedures. Worksheet D is also used to document out-of-state car rental. Car rental should only be obtained when necessary and not for convenience. Employees should use airport hotel shuttles whenever possible. If a rental car is deemed to be necessary, a minimum of 2 quotes is required. A compact car is the authorized size unless written justification is made and approved for larger car size. Unlike interstate car rentals, the P card may not be used. The traveler must use a personal card as a means of payment. For out-of-state travel, employees may purchase collision damage waiver or CDW. Sometimes this insurance may be called loss damage waiver, LDW, or physical damage waiver, PDW. All other insurances, like supplemental insurance, personal accident insurance, are the responsibility of the traveler and not reimbursable. On Worksheet D, in the area designated for out-of-state car rental, complete the pickup and return dates along with pickup and return locations. Indicate the 2 vendor quotes, the date the quotes received, and the total cost. Be sure to include all taxes and mandatory fees. If not selecting the most economical car rental, a reason must be noted on the worksheet. Worksheet D is also used to annotate other kinds of ground transportation, which may include taxis, shuttles, parking, rail, or bus transportation. The bottom half of Worksheet D is used to describe the type of ground transportation and the estimated cost. The estimated total cost should include all anticipated ground transportation that will be supported by proper documentation or receipt. The Travel Approval Form, or simply called the TAF, SPO Form 30, is used to consolidate all the information on one sheet, including estimated expenses from the applicable worksheets and obtain travel approval. The top portion of the form will include information regarding intra or out-of-state travel, name of traveler, contact information, position or title of the employee, collective bargaining unit, department, division, or office, the name of the person who can be contacted in case of any inquiries, and his or her contact information and traveler's billing address. The form includes a justification for the trip. Additional sheets may be used if the justification section is inadequate. Complete information is needed when the business or conference or meeting time starts and ends, including date and time. It is very important this information is accurate. The entire trip revolves around authorized dates and times. In the event the traveler is participating in pre or post business, the form must reflect this information. The TAF is a compilation of all the worksheets. The cost for each of these applicable worksheets, air, per diem, hotel, and transportation, is transferred to the TAF. There is a section in the TAF to allow for other expenses like registration and training material costs. Each line in the cost information section should be filled out even if there is no associated cost. The purpose is twofold. One, you won't forget any line item, and two, to inform approving authority of the expense amount. Other expenses would include such items as registration fees, training materials, and books if allowed, visas, or passports. Once the TAF is complete, attach all applicable worksheets. It is then sent to the employees requesting authority for signature, then to the approving authority for signature. The only reasons the TAF is amended are: 1, the dates of the travel changed, not just a day change because of flight, but changes to the conference or meeting date. 2, destination change, for example, from San Diego to Texas. Or 3, the purpose of the travel, for example, building conference to safety training. SPO has set the minimum requirements for travel. The department may impose additional approvals, policies, or procedures. Definite travel arrangements should not be made until all approvals are obtained. It may be necessary to redo the worksheets, particularly Worksheet A, if the airfare quote has changed. The quote need not be from the same travel agency, online travel provider, or airline. A minimum of 2 authorized quotes are needed, and justification must be provided if the most economical airfare is not chosen. Failure to follow the travel procedures is considered a procurement violation and may result in submitting the SPO Form 16. Travelers must keep all receipts, including boarding passes of proof of travel, to submit with the statement of completed travel. Receipts must be submitted to receive reimbursement. The statement of completed travel should be submitted within 10 working days of return to the regular place of business. Employees must follow departmental policies and procedures to use the statement of completed travel established by the department. When completing the statement of completed travel, traveler must indicate the type of travel, interstate or out-of-state or same-day travel. Information shall include the name of the traveler's division or branch, the date the form is completed, travel origin and destination, authority to travel, for instance, the TAF, the date of departure and return. Section A is used to compute per diem based on quarter days. In this example, the traveler is entitled to 0.25 days on the departure date. There was a total of 6 full days, and on the return day, the traveler is entitled to 1 full day for a total of 7.25 days at $145, which is the current rate of per diem for out-of-state travel. Section B should be completed when lodging is provided at no cost to the employee and per diem is not provided. Section C would be completed when meals are provided in connection with approved travel, with the exception of conference programs. Section D is used to itemize reimbursable expenses such as taxi, baggage, and parking. Section E is a total claim due to the employee. If advance per diem was provided, the amount would be deducted from the total claim, resulting in the total due to the employee and the amount indicated in Section G. Full information, including FAQs, can be found on the SPO website, which is spo.hawaii.gov. At the home page, select the tile labeled Manual for State and County Personnel. On the next page, select Travel Procedures. On the Travel Procedures page, you will find a lot of information to guide you in doing travel arrangements properly. Some final reminders. Written delegation is not required. However, this is a mandatory workshop for all staff making travel arrangements or staff involved in pre- and post-travel review. Use the forms on the SPO website as they are the most current. Obsolete forms may be rejected. Keep all receipts, including boarding passes, for the Statement of Completed Travel. And submit your Statement of Completed Travel within 10 days of returning to work. If additional assistance is required, please contact Bonnie Kahakui at 587-4702 or email me at bonnie.a.kahakui@hawaii.gov or Michael Ong at 586-0562 or email Michael at michael.lt.ong@hawaii.gov. Thank you for participating.